It is time for the Nebraska Dairy Update. I'm Chad Moyer. Today we get an update from Midwest Dairy, and today we are going to visit with Trudy Wastweet. She is the Midwest Dairy Chief Operating Officer. Trudy, thanks for visiting with us here today. The topic of conversation is the Midwest Dairy Scorecard. If you can describe it, what is the Midwest Dairy Scorecard? What does it mean for dairy farmers in the country?
Well, Chad, we are pleased to present our scorecard as a way for dairy farmers to have a simple, concise look into the accomplishments and progress being made by Midwest Dairy as an organization. Our farmer board leaders several years ago asked us to really help provide a more clear reporting mechanism on the measurement of our progress on our strategic plan. So our scorecard breaks down each of our primary business objectives for the company and simply provides a nice illustration that is simple and we think very straightforward to depict how we are doing, making progress on our goals.
So let's take that, a simple visual depiction. Let's try and put that into words for folks that are listening here today. You said there are three primary business goals that Midwest Dairy focuses on: increased sales, growing trust, and advancing research. Let's talk about each one of those individually. First of all, what's the most recent assessment on the sales goals, if you will?
So we have been putting together our mid-year scorecard. We do our scorecard 2 times a year at the midpoint of the year and a year-end report. And our mid-year sales numbers had some bright spots and a couple of more challenging areas in the channels that we are partnering to grow sales. We work in retail partnerships, food service partnerships, and we have some lingering work partnering with schools to do meal service and sales growth in that channel. Our retail work still is challenged by inflation and budget. You know, the wallets are tighter for every family shopping these days. And so we have started our data at the beginning of the year. Our retail partnerships for the first part of the year, really we're still kind of in a struggle with those inflationary effects on basket size at the grocery store. Consumers were just making some choices about what they were buying. And so we actually measure our sales growth by what we call incremental pounds of milk. So we compare the results of a activation with a partner to their sales volume of the prior year during the same time period. And so in our retail channel, we saw actually some declines in that year-over-year measurement of activations in the retail channel because of challenges, frankly, with just budget and the price of groceries. Alternatively, our work with food service partners has been very bright as consumers are shifting how they spend their grocery dollar and their food budget. More people are eating out. And so we actually have seen tremendous growth in our activations with our food service partners. I would say restaurant business is back in full swing when it comes to sales opportunities for dairy. And we have seen some really bright spots and great potential to increase sales in the food service channel.
Is there anything to report on the school front, or you said it's kind of lingering on that? What's the work with schools?
You know, our partnerships with schools have taken a different direction, really compelled by the lingering effects of school meal program offerings with the COVID programs offered by the federal government and standards and policies with the school meal program policies. And actually, we have had several schools that have had some grant funding for us to get equipment in and some things like that over the past several years. But because they are still dealing with school-based labor shortages and shifts in the kids' participation in those programs, our school channel has been very limited because a lot of the school districts have not implemented the projects that we sponsored. So we short on goal, specifically in the school channel, really impacted by circumstances that school districts are facing.
Trudy, coming up next week, we are going to talk about the trust goal and the research goal and how Midwest Dairy is performing on that scorecard. We'll do that next week. But in the meantime, if folks would like to take a look at that scorecard and learn a little bit more about it, how can they do that?
Easiest place to find that is on MidwestDairy.com. The quick route, just search for Midyear Scorecard, and we update that at midyear. So usually sometime in July it would be ready. And then we'll have our year-end scorecard coming up and will be available in January of 2024.
All right, thank you so much. Again, that's Trudy Wastweet. She is the COO of Midwest Dairy. And again, coming up next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. We'll talk about the progress on the trust goal and progress on the research goal as well. That's coming up next week. But for now, that is today's Nebraska Dairy Update. Chad Moyer reporting.